Spyro the Dragon. Originally came out in 1998 for the PlayStation 1. I love my mom very, very much. And I have fond memories of sitting and playing the original Spyro the Dragon with her, as well as Mario 1 and Mario 3. She also cooked a lot of homemade food, or at least what I consider homemade anyway. I appreciate the effort she put into that, and the food tasted good, and well, a lot of times she'd cook. I'd be sitting in the kitchen and I'd talk to her. But yeah, I love my mom very much. And yeah, she's been there for me more than any other human on the planet has been. And I'd say I love my mom more than any other human on the planet. At times I feel like she's basically all I have in the world. Granted, I don't see her too often, though. And granted, I do have some concerns about some things, but all in all, I love my mom very much. I wouldn't trade her for any other mom in the world. I appreciate everything she's done for me. And heck, I remember being like 10 or 11 years old. I think I was 11. Granted, I've been in like a half a dozen car accidents in the course of my life, but in that car accident, the car went straight in the passenger seat. While I was sitting, she leaned over me. That being said, it was a little scary afterward. I could see her skull. She still has a bit of a scar there, but it's mostly healed, I think. It's just depends on what you consider noticeable or not. Heck, a few years ago, I had bladder surgery. She spent 3 days, 3 nights over here. So I appreciated that. I could watch some Jackie Chan and some Conan the Barbarian. It's nice. I enjoyed spending time with her. It just been nice if it was under better circumstances. I was occasionally sit and play some Battleship with her. And maybe one day I'll be able to sit and just play, those old NES games with her again. But yeah, just want to say I love my mom very, very much. Spyro the Dragon's good game. I really like the soundtrack in that game. Looks like I got some things to do. The first Spyro the Dragon game released on the PlayStation 1998. Nasty Nork is a greedy fellow, and he has his eyes set on the massive gem hoard they keep in the dragon realms. So he swoops in, steals the treasures, and turns all the dragons to crystal. Well, all but one. A young dragon named Spyro managed to survive crystallization. Now it's up to him and his dragonfly Sparks to recover the gems, rescue the dragons, and defeat Gnasty Gnorc. This game, along with Ripto's Rage and the Year of the Dragon, were remastered on the PlayStation 4. Updated graphics, part of Spyro Reignited trilogy. Former 2 ports coinciding franchise's 20th anniversary. One up. Their chest makes a distinctive sound, and the lives take the form of Spyro figurines. You can also run through the levels a second time and defeat enemies again to gain pearls. Collecting a whole ring will increase your lives by 1. 100% completion. Getting 100% requires collecting 12,000 gems and rescuing all 80 dragons. For doing so, you unlock Gnasty's Loot, a free-flying platform level with 2,000 more gems. Collecting them all grants you an extra 20% and a bonus ending with a credit sequence that shows levels in the second half of the game instead of the first. Accent upon the wrong syllable. The reporter who appears in the opening and ending cutscenes consistently pronounces Nasty Gnorc's name as Gnasty Gnorc. Other characters read his name, but the G's are silent. Aref and Bob, dragons like Lucas, Zeke, and Damon exist alongside dragons like Spyro, Sadiki, and Capano. All deserts have cacti, the Peacekeeper's homeworld, Dry Canyon, and Clifftown, which are desert levels. Based on the American Southwest, have cacti decorating them, and I must scream. In the first game, the dragons are frozen in stone but are still conscious and aware, since some of the drag's locations are pretty well hidden if Spyro is put in the hands of a player of less perseverance. Well, try not to think about it too much. It's even played for laughs sometimes. Delvin, thanks, Spyro. I had the worst itch on the top tip of my wing. Angry guard dog. The sheepdogs in the toasty level, which leap up and speed to land and flatten Spyro, and take 2 hits to defeat. Animated armor. In haunted towers, the weather wizards there can animate uninhabited suits of armor called tin soldiers. They can only be destroyed by supercharge or super flame. Anti-frustration features. Games only need to be collected once per playthrough. Their collection is saved the second it's done, so deaths and checkpoints don't have to be worried about in terms of gem progress. It's possible to see gems glimmering from long distances, tipping you off about locations you haven't visited yet. Rescued dragons create checkpoints that not only save Spyro's position, but also his enemy defeats, meaning the player won't have to re-defeat enemies before a checkpoint, and that they can consciously exploit checkpoints to save enemies out of the level. High Caves is a bottomless pit rescue service to ensure that the supercharge jumps don't cost the player lives on their first supercharge level. This only extends the large chasm accessible to the ramps. Treetops has no such assistance as a later supercharged level. I know I have raged out at that particular level in particular, particularly for that reason. Armored dragons. Dragons found in Peacekeepers are frequently wearing helmets and breastplates. Armor is useless. Zigzag Spyro's fire breath has no effect on metal, which includes armored enemies, but his charge does. Some large-sized armored enemies and the animated armor in haunted towers are completely immune to both of Spyro's standard attacks. While designed with diverse personalities, most of Nork's actual behaviors boil down to idle, approach Spyro, pause, attack, gloat, repeat. People generally play games to have fun with them. However, sometimes gameplay can hit a snag, and the game then becomes either a chore to play at best or an intolerable nuisance at worst. Ben Yahtzee Croshaw. 0 punctuation on Bayonetta. There is one feature I will happily abase myself before. Mid-boss checkpoints. This is a game where a boss can be the size of the moon and have 11 health bars. Chipping the first 10 away only to be killed by a casual elbow to the face is frustrating enough without having to take it from the top. That's where anti-frustration features, sometimes called quality of life features for obvious reasons, come in instances in a game designed to alleviate frustration either in normal gameplay or from previous series iterations. This is a super trope. Anti-trolling features. By the way, if you guys want me to come back to any of these things, let me know. I'm just trying not to have a very long video. Super tropes can be pretty broad in scope, enough to cover one or more subtropes under them. Pretty and mink is such a broad way to show glamour and wealth. It has at least 5 ways to split it. A sample of super tropes and their subtropes. I would say, are we giving ideas for things people like, oh, I saw this one thing, let's come back to, I don't know.